prominent human rights lawyer who is now a writer full-time. Welcome. Nandita, the first thing I wanted to know is, the peace talks deadline was 31st October, but it hasn't worked out, it seems. What seems to be the hitch? What do you think has gone wrong?
Well, let's not say it's gone wrong. There may still be a signing. We don't. Apparently, from the media, I have no other knowledge. It says that NSE and IM, which was the first group which was negotiating with government, wants a flag and a constitution.
Right.
And the government of India is not willing to concede because a country has only a flag and a constitution. Of course, till today, Kashmir had its own constitution, and every state does have its own flags. But under the present regime, there is a kind of emphasis or overemphasis on a kind of definition of a unity which talks about, well, let's say that there should be no diversity of flags and constitution. It's an old slogan of the Jansang. But anyway, so for the time being, it's stuck on the question of flag and the constitution. But today, in fact, the papers now talk about the perhaps, I have no idea, but that's what the papers tell us, that the NSE and IM has agreed that if their flag can be used on cultural occasions. Now, the other group, which is a group of several armed groups put together, called National Naga groups, they say that no, it should also be we should also be allowed to use our flag for political purposes. So apparently that is what is the hitch. But I think behind that there is a long history, and perhaps we should really understand that history. Well, the oldest demand, if we look at it, the Nagas have said they want an independent country. So right at 47, August 14, they declared themselves independent. So I presume that that would be their own flag, their own constitution, their own state. The Naga national movement, as it started in 50s, demanded an independent state. That it was a state of the Naga areas of India and the Naga areas of Burma.
Right.
Then that demand was sort of come down one bit of at least the integration of Naga areas within India. And not even if it is not, say, an independent country, but at least it should be within India and or under one administration.
Right.
So that was the demand. And in that, like Kashmir had its own flag, its constitution. So perhaps in the negotiation, they thought they could also have negotiated a similar position. But now, with what happened in Kashmir, an abrogation or nullification of Article 370, I think the Nagas said, okay, so whatever agreement we may have, they may just abrogate the agreement. They may just put it aside. So we should at least have our flag and constitution. I think it definitely made their position more rigid.
Okay, so because we did see also a change in the position, the NNPG was not very insistent on a flag and constitution earlier, but then suddenly they seem to have decided that yes, this is very important for us. Now, how important is it for the NSCN to be for Muiwa to be on board with this agreement that the Indian government is trying to thrash out?
I think it's very important because we must remember that the question now is really like this, that if the Indian government in 1997 thought that they should negotiate an Indo-Naga peace process should be initiated with the NSE and IM, there was only NSE and there was no IM or any other.
Right.
So that's how it started. And everyone agreed, there was no disagreement or very, very little disagreement that they actually represent the Nagas. From 97 to 2019, the Indian intelligence agencies, and perhaps others I do not know, have made a concerted effort to divide the Nagas. And then now you have a position in which I think there are at least 5 to 6 NSCNs.
Right.
And there are 2 or 3 NNCs. So you have this group which is now called the PG, and you have the NSCN. Now, if you see a history of peace processes, Indian intelligence does this divide and rule. So the question is that do peace processes are an exercise in counterinsurgency, or are peace process an exercise in sharing power? and making it more democratic, making our country or the constitution more democratic. That is the basic question.
What do the Naga people want? With all these factions of the various outfits, overground, underground, militant, non militant, is the credibility somewhat eroded? Of
No, I think one thing is very clear, that the Nagas want integration of Naga inhabited areas. That is something that they have wanted right from the time of the making of the NNC. And after NNC, even the most, whether from Mr. Fizo's time to Mr. Moiva's time, whoever they are, they have said integration of Naga, all Naga areas. Beginning, as I said, they wanted the integration of Naga areas within Burma, which is now Myanmar, and India, now within India. So today I shall address only the issue of within India.
within India.
So now the question is, in what form? Is it to be an Indian sovereign state, which is, I think the NSCN had given up that demand and said within India, one administrative unit. And this is a demand which is, right across all Nagas, that the Nagas of Assam, Nagas of Arunachal, Nagas of Nagaland, Nagas of Manipur should come together in one state within the Indian constitution. And that is something which is very consistent.
So now what happens next? Now that this settlement will still be thrashed out, there will be continuing negotiations. I also wanted to ask you, what is the role of the Baptist Church? What is the role of the NGOs in, and who are the other players in this assemblage apart from NSCN and the Indian government?